Well, hello there, middle school science teachers. I wanted to make a video highlighting some of the updates to our scope and sequence. So this now will serve as the scope and sequence overview video, and I'll highlight that, keeping this video as short as possible to help you guys out. Now, I am just going to make this one video for all three grade levels. So this is 6th grade right here. I'll kind of use 7th grade and 8th grade. They all look the same. They all have the same types of resources there. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. If you're an 8th grade teacher, you'll notice 8th grade gets crammed with a lot more concepts, especially here in Unit 4. As you get to the end of the school year, 8th grade, you're also got the map test. You're probably not going to hit all of these, so don't worry about covering all of them. Maybe pick and choose based off your time. And then in 6th grade, it's a pretty normal looking scope and sequence. Just know that the first unit was a bit longer and the second unit was shorter, and so I've kind of made it so that way it's easy to see that this unit will carry over through quarter one a little bit. You'll go a couple weeks into quarter two, but when you take that quarter assessment, the Illuminate test or Renaissance with the district, I won't be covering this stuff in the final end of this tail unit, so it'll be fair for the kids. I'm going to use 7th grade to talk about everything because 7th grade, as you can see, is really nicely set. 3 concepts per unit, so it looks really, really nice this way. Now, as you can see, each unit or quarter is also color-coded, which really helps, and that color coding is going to follow through on those curriculum maps. And some of the things that we're going to highlight will be down here as well, but I want to show you guys if this is kind of too small to look at, especially if you print it out, it gets very small. If you double-click this image up here, as you can see this highlight says, it'll come up with a link and you can get to my large print version, which instead of being a one-pager actually is a front and back view. And so now you have Unit 1 and Unit 2 there on one page, and then if we scroll you can see Unit 3 and 4 on the next. So this is good if you print it out. You still have one page of paper, but I was able to make the fonts a lot bigger using this. And I'll use this to kind of show you guys what we're looking at. So really briefly, to get to the curriculum maps, and I'll have a separate training on all of that, just click on the units up here and it'll take you to the curriculum map landing page and all the suggested posts sequence. You have your pacing kind of laid out here. Just so you guys know, your scope and sequence is just kind of like your year out planning. What's coming up? What do I want to connect my ideas to? All of this information, everything on this document can be accessed via the curriculum maps. So don't feel like once you're in the curriculum maps you've lost access to some of this stuff. It's all there. But you can also kind of see what are the standards that we're addressing in each of these different units. You'll notice that you not only have earth, space science, physical science, but also life science. So Discovery Ed is interweaving those 3 bands, so each unit gets a little bit of each of those standards. So that way students are being exposed to those ideas all throughout 6th through 8th grade. And then at the end of 8th grade, they take the test that covers all the standards from the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade scope and sequence. So it's really important that we try to cover all this material in those grade levels so students are prepared. If you want more details on the standards, these links take you to what's called the item specifications. These were created by DESE to kind of break down what the standard means, example questions. So if you're really trying to teach standard-based, those are great documents to go into to get a lot more detailed information. There's also these proficiency scales. Now, these came before my time, but if you want some standards-based grading, like objectives, like grade 1, 2, 3, 4, based off of those standards, you could grab some information from those. I've just carried those over. I didn't create them. All right, I do want to spend a little bit of time on the performance tasks and assessments down here. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail on these performance tasks because if you actually click here, there's a video there that shows you guys how to utilize those. But these are excellent resources to kind of cap off as an assessment because they kind of take the knowledge about what students have been learning about and see if they can apply it in a new scenario, which is very map-like. And they each all have videos, text, data, graphs. They're extremely standard-based. So as you can see here, I actually put the standard that this performance assessment addresses. And if you click on this link, that gives you your teacher answer key. And if you click on the actual title of the performance assessment, that takes you to that performance assessment. I've designed these that these can be both assigned digitally as well as print off. Please check the video so that way you know how to convert one from the other. Tons of those. You probably won't get to use all of those, but I've also suggested to teachers, like, let's say I've moved on, I'm in quarter 2, student missed some days. I don't want to get out a bunch of supplies and stuff to have them go repeat some assignments to get their grade up. I might just assign them this as a makeup because it kind of summarizes that. Or maybe we do this as an assessment in class, extra credit. Have students do a lot of these because those are good practice for exposing students to all these different scenarios. And they're Google Docs, so when you finally do make your copy, you can tweak them however you want. More about that stuff in this video. I don't want to spend too much time on that here. The other thing that you have down here at the bottom, the assessments, if you want to see what will students be tested on from the district, you can actually look at those questions right from the get-go so you know what are important topics to cover as you go throughout. Do not teach to the test, so like don't show students like exact questions and like prompt them for the answers, but you can kind of sneak in some questions as they come up throughout. I've actually pulled all of the questions for our district assessments from Discovery Ed, so they are questions students should be exposed to. Just try not to like highlight and try to like teach directly to the test, or the data doesn't really help out much. Similar to these concept performance assessments that are based off one standard, there's also a unit performance assessment. The unit performance assessments they cover all the standards that are in that unit, but it's the same format. It just kind of jumps around multiple standards. They're also really good for assessing students to see how they did. And if you want the answer key for that, just click this little icon here and you have your answer key. One of the more recent updates we got was DESE created these map testlets. There are 15 testlets, and what I've done is I've broken them up and spaced them from 6th grade all the way through 8th grade, trying to keep like the questions on this testlet are similar to what students would be learning about. But these are like mini map tests. So you can see it's got like a lab setup, some text, they're reading about the situation, they have to understand this text before they actually get to the questions, and they're answering questions based off all of this. So you can see this would be great practice. I might start doing these as a class, helping students to see and have the endurance for how to find the answers and work through them. So you can kind of do those like that, and then you can start doing practice. I want students being exposed to this stuff starting in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, so when we do take the map tests, it's easy. So those have been spread out all throughout. There's at least one per unit, and then when you get up towards 7th and 8th grade, there might be some with 2 map testlets as well. So that's a great way, and if you're an 8th grade teacher, feel free to pull these up in any of these and have students testing all throughout. Again, your answer key, graded rubrics, what the standards are, just click that icon right there. All right, that is our scope and sequence. You use this for planning out your year. All these resources, including these down here, will be findable in the curriculum maps. And if you need more training, I would suggest the curriculum map training video, which will be coming up next. So thank you guys.